And hello, this is Eamonn O'Brien, and you're so welcome to the Reluctant Speakers Club Expert Series. And coming up today, we're going to talk about the power and the importance of putting a little bit of pep into your personal brand, and in particular, why speaking is an awesome way to really help you to get noticed. And we have an awesome speaker who's in our expert chair all the way over in Florida today. We have Pam Moore. Hello, Pam.
Hello, everybody.
Great to have you here.
Thank
and for
you.
those about one or two people who don't know who you are on Twitter and elsewhere, I should give people a little bit of backdrop, Pam. So you are a speaker, and that's really how I know you, a keynote speaker, but you're also within, now I'm going to get this right because it's a mouthful, the Forbes Top 10 Social Media Power Influencers, which is an awesome tag.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, of course, you're the CEO of Marketing Nuts. And I like how you call yourself half and half in terms of a marketing person and a geek.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
that's me.
the perfect blend. But I really would, if I can start off today, and obviously we'll get into the speaking side of things, but I've heard you say in the past that when it comes to personal brands, that it's not really something for just a few today, that everybody needs to have one. Why is that? Why do you think that's so important?
I think it is important. I think we need to just kind of take it down. I like to put things in a nutshell. And if you think about business and life and everything in business and life, we're people, we're human beings. And so to think that who we are doesn't matter when we're in business, it has always mattered. I mean, we can go back to the dirt houses before there was any technology that wasn't in existence, and the old general stores I used to watch on Little House on the Prairie,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and dream of that simple life. It's about people, right? And so your personal brand is the only thing. Even if you change jobs, and I know with where the economy is right now, there's so many people that are changing jobs, they're looking for a job, and then they'll hang their hat on one brand, or they'll build their reputation on one cool company they worked for. And then what happens when there's a downsizing, right? Your personal brand is the only thing you have from a business perspective and a marketing perspective and a reputation perspective that you can take with you. Like everything about your personal brand and reputation, you take with you no matter where you go. And it doesn't matter what type of business you're in, doesn't matter what type of business you're owning, it's yours, right? Nobody can take that from you.
No, and I like that. And of course, you're quite right that it is something that you can bring wherever you are, but it's also
Absolutely.
something that has become, if you like, integrated with whatever you do in business today. The two are kind of, they're really kind of joined to the hip, aren't they?
Absolutely. Right. And people buy from people, right? We talk with you, and I are sitting here looking eye to eye, and we communicate with other people. We build community with other people. And so you've got to figure out who you are, and just let that shine to the world.
Yeah, no, I like that, shining to the world. And speaking
Yeah.
about shining to the world, I saw you shining, as it were, over in San Diego
Yeah.
as a speaker. And of course, we got to chat quite a bit afterwards. But I want to talk about why speaking is not just important to someone like yourself, who's very much in the limelight in terms of social media, but to others in general. And maybe a good place to start would be maybe why you got involved in speaking in the first place. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so for me, it was pretty natural. And I started speaking, 15, 20 years ago. Back in high school, I can remember training and being involved in communities. And so for me, I've always been a leader. I've always been someone that's first to grab onto technology and concepts, whatever it is I'm learning and excited about. And I'm not afraid to fail. So I'm not afraid to get in front of people. Though I can remember taking my first speech class in college, and I was scared to death, but it was because
Oh.
I was talking about something that I wasn't passionate about, right? I was talking about something that my teacher, my professor made me talk about, and I had to sit there and read, right? And so I look back and I think of that, and for me, I love sharing information. I love helping people. We run an agency, we do a ton of digital work and social and business things. But to me, what inspires me and keeps me going every day are the people we work with, and the people we're able to empower, the humans within the business that we're able to see them move from, and a lower level person to a director, to executive director, to a VP. For me, that's what it's all about.
No, absolutely. And I like what you said there, because you found that when you were speaking about something that you really didn't give a hoot about, that you really had a total disconnect. You must like what you're talking about. That's a great segue, actually, maybe into the whole area of speaking and what you do like to speak about. So
Yes.
maybe you could share a little bit about what speaking has done for you, and I suppose how it's helped you to cut through the clutter.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking for me has helped to establish thought leadership, and I know that's a word that gets debated a lot, right? Oh, it's a bad word, and but it has enabled us to establish thought leadership. I mean, there's nothing better than being able to speak to a room of people and share with them what you know and become a trusted authority in your business, right? And as Josh, my partner, as you know, and you sang with him on stage at
I
Social Media
did, yes.
Marketing
Yeah,
World.
we're the bass boys. It's all
Yeah,
about the bass.
he always says, like, if we could just get you, if we had the time to just get you out speaking all the time, I mean, the business would be insane. And so there's just so much business that comes, I think, when you become a voice that can help people. And when you can get out there and network and meet people. I mean, there's not a speaking opportunity that I have had that has not brought tremendous value to my life and to my business.
Absolutely that. And so it's both because it brings people to you because they get to hear you and get to realize
Absolutely.
you're a real source on something. But also for those who are already working with you, it really helps to reestablish just how much value these folks place in you.
Absolutely. And I was just at the in the Caribbean a couple weeks ago. I was in Trinidad and Tobago and speaking there with it was a corporate council group, right? So here we were with everything from the SEC there and manufacturing and export companies, digital marketers and corporate council. And I think the one of the greatest benefits of speaking is that oftentimes in our industry, we get stuck in our own world and we get stuck thinking that everybody knows everything that we know. And in reality, we all as individuals have something unique to share. Like you and I could sit here and talk, and I can learn so much from you. And you know, you sit in a room with people and you can learn so much from them, you know. And I was only supposed to speak a couple weeks ago for a couple hours, and then it wound up taking over almost the whole day. They changed the agenda around because they wanted to hear from me. So it's just the more you can understand your audience and deliver them true value, the more they're going to want to listen to you.
No, I think you're exactly right. And I'm guessing it's opened a lot of doors for you over the years.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I used to do a ton of training and that type of thing, you know, thousands of people, thousands of sales reps and that type of thing in a corporate audience. So I know the power of social selling and selling you know, through networking and letting the relationships lead those sales versus just pushing products and services on people.
Well, actually, that's a good segue, because herein lies something where you've got some awesome advice that you could give. When it comes to the whole area of, if you like, marrying the expertise that you can share from the stage with what
Right.
people get to see online,
Right.
perhaps you give us some ideas about the things that you've seen work especially well, or ideas that people might want to think about.
Sure. So something, and I'll share with you something recent we've been testing with, because for me, I'm really not a salesperson, right? My partner in business and life, Josh, is a salesperson. I'm the one that always gets busted for giving things away. You know, and any of our clients that listen to this, you know what I'm talking about. I'll be on a call, I'll say, hey, we'll throw that in. You know, don't tell Josh that I said we're doing that. And so I like to pack as much value. So for me, selling from the stage is not a natural thing. And it's something that I've had to look to some leaders in the space. And I've over the years, I'm starting to get better at. I would not say I'm even a master at even close to being a master at it. I have a long way to go. But what has worked is for me to be able to provide value through things like resources that they can download. So recently, I've been using the text feature that Lead Pages has, which is great. So we have that integrated with our email marketing system, which is Infusionsoft. And thanks to Lead Pages, I can set up a landing page in less than 5 minutes, right? Copy, paste, you do a few things. And now they have a text option where, you know, you're speaking to a room and you can have them text a word, and then they can download a resource kit that's specific to whatever it is you're talking about. So
And
we've
that's awesome interaction.
Yeah, and then I have a landing page too, and the URL is there. But what has worked for us are kits, and so I have the resources, the worksheets, that type of thing. But you can go download our personal branding kit that includes 7, 8 different resources to help you with your personal brand. And so when I'm speaking to a room of young professionals at a credit union event, like I did a month or so ago, they all downloaded it right there. Right, I had almost 100 people that opted in and download it. There was a targeted audience. And so then you have the opportunity to nurture those relationships, right? And to provide
Absolutely.
them value over the coming weeks. It
Yeah.
doesn't go straight to a sale.
No, and without trying to, if you like, to be pushy. And actually, in that vein, actually, that's an interesting segue, because one of the things that most people don't want to do, and it's not just you, incidentally, on this front, Pam, is that we don't want to be in your face. We don't want to be in
Right.
selly mode. And in fact, you and I, when we were talking eons ago, we were talking about how it's so important that when you're in front of people, that you come over as being genuine and human,
Absolutely.
flaws and all.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Very
So,
true.
yeah. So actually, let's talk about that for a little bit, because again, this has to do with, if you like, marrying the online and offline and your voice.
Absolutely.
Tell me your thoughts about that. What's important in terms of connecting with people at a real level, I suppose.
Yeah, so I think it's so important, and particularly if you are building or you have built a personal brand online. Okay, so when you have a personal brand online, and people follow you, the last thing and they follow you because they like you, they connect with you, they like what you say. The last thing you want to do is then when you meet them in real life, you're a completely different person, right? And I've seen some people do this where they may have somebody that's writing their content on their blog, doing a lot of ghost writing, and you see some executives have this problem. And then you get in front of them in real life and they're like, hey, I love what you said about here, or I love this. And if you promote and it's walking the walk, right? So if you preach that you're about relationships and you're about communication, you want to connect with real people, and then you never take the time to talk to somebody who comes up and talks to you at an event or after you speak, as tired as I am, I mean, I'll sit there at the stage and get down and do selfies. And I figure if someone is likes me enough that they want to do a selfie and have me be in their picture, for goodness sakes, I'll give them that ability, right? I'm honored that anyone wants to come and listen to me and tweet anything about me or say anything. So to me, I appreciate every single fan that I have. And I think
Absolutely, yeah.
that's a mistake so many make. They take them for granted and they think they're above them because they're on the stage.
Yeah, in fact, I was at a professional speaking event in Britain recently,
Mhm.
and the head of professional speaking in Britain and Ireland, and I look after the Irish side of things, he was talking about how you need to avoid the peacock syndrome as a speaker,
Mhm.
because people will sometimes kind of look at the speaker and obviously you're looking for a connection
Mhm.
there, and you don't want to have that wall appear. It needs to be
Right.
something where people feel, you know what, this person who is speaking from the stage really gives a hoot about me.
Yeah, they care who I am, right? And more than just, the engagement factor, it's just cuz you ask people to raise their hands, on a scale of 1 to 5, that's not necessarily engagement, right? Like I love, I mean, to me that's better than nothing, but I love being next to them and knowing their name and I have a dry sense of humor, so sometimes, picking on them even a little bit. And I always say the only thing keeping you out there in the audience the only thing between you and dancing up here with me on stage is, you not falling asleep. And when I look at you and call you, that you're answering me if I'm asking you something. And that usually tends to keep people on their toes.
Absolutely that. And of course, the other thing is that when you get down and spend time with your audience, both before and after you speak,
Mhm.
you really get an opportunity to get into their stories. And so
Absolutely.
if you can combine those with the stories that you're planning on telling, it's even more personal, I suppose, to the folks who are listening to you.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Well, actually, since I have a fellow podcaster here with me, and I'm delighted that we both fall into that category, you might talk to me about where and how you think podcasting, or indeed what we're doing on video and elsewhere, where does that fall into the way that people are likely to connect with others in the next N number of years?
So, so where podcasting is really interesting, and it's one of those things that so many people are afraid of, and we started our podcast a year ago, July. And can I tell you a little history on kind of why we
Sure.
started?
Yeah.
Because I think it's important. Okay. So, and it's interesting how these things work out, right? Doing social listening and learning and communicating with other people. The way we got into podcasting was I was working with a client on one of our Get Real Chat events we were doing with a large client, and I needed some data on Google, and it was actually Google Plus data that I think I needed. So I tweeted it out for begging for help, saying, "Does anybody have this statistic? Like, I need it now." So Tom Webster, who is a king of data for audio, happened to reply. And he was doing a webinar that Wednesday. And he was doing a webinar and said, "Hey, I'm going to have all this data that you need also on Google Plus on Wednesday. Come join our webinar." And I said, "Hey, I don't have time. I need it now." And he shot me the stat I needed for Google Plus. I hopped onto his webinar to pay him back on Wednesday and was blown away by the data he presented on where audio is and where audio is going. And I truly believe we are at, the tip of the iceberg of how big this thing is. And what I like most about podcasting is it does not require screen time. Okay. So I can have my iPhone and I started testing podcasting by listening. I got on podcasts. I'm like, who all is doing this? And I was learning from the people I like to learn from while I was doing my dishes. I don't have to look at this screen. I can set it on my kitchen counter out of the way, do the dishes, hang with the kids, work out. And it started to finally like make sense to me. I'm like, are we not doing this? So we completely changed our business model a year ago. I mean, we fired half of our clients literally and raised our prices and said, we're building a media platform even more than we've ever done before. And we are truly going to embrace podcasting. And what I was finding is through my blog, I've written over 600 plus blog posts since 2009, is I couldn't go deep enough. There's only so much that you can share through textual content. And so people were wanting more. They were wanting, like, tell me the head of Pam, tell me more of how you do this. And so that's where podcasting for me worked, because I was able to just jump on there and really be able to share more value with my audience, but then really be able to connect. So now as we're doing it, we were monetized within the first 30 days. We had sponsors coming to us. We have not had to sell at all. It's paid for itself over and over again, and the conversion funnel from it is great. We're getting all the blog traffic is actually up. We were a little worried about it. So we did it as a test to see what would happen. And it's helped every part of our business. And I love doing it.
Yeah, well, I can attest that that's absolutely the case, because I can tell you I've been doing it for a little over a year, and within 90 days, and I wasn't looking for this, I saw that apart from the fact that dwell time went up by 50%, conversions went up by 50%, that's a good plan. But more than that, I heard that, oh, you know what, Eamonn, your podcast is in the top 100 in the small business trends. Woohoo! Yeah, and that was only because it's specialized. But the point is that you have share of ear.
Yes,
and you and we're having a great conversation here and giving people ideas and insights, and it's conversation that people can have in a nice bite size when they're, as you say, when you're out and about, when you're working out, when you're doing your groceries, when you're on trains, planes, automobiles.
Yeah, wherever you are, and you can download them and listen to them. And to me, that's so powerful. I know that I've lost some of my audience that doesn't like audio, but the positive of it outweighs that, right? The positive of the audience that I've been able to pick up and engage deeply more outweighs that. And we're looking at whether we should be doing more text posts, but to be honest, I doubt that we will be doing that much more, because the audio is absolutely working. If anything, we'll be going more into video.
But you can combo, because what you can do, of course, is you can create transcripts of anything that you do and then put them in your speech notes. So it's a twofer. Yeah. And actually, I liked something that you said there about kind of going deeper and the relationships. And maybe that's a good place to kind of round out in our conversation today. Yeah. If there were one or two tips that you would share when it comes to nurturing deeper and better relationships with people, online and offline, because those lines have blurred, what would they be?
So first, I would break it down by what you do online, and then I think there's what you do offline. So I think you have to have a strategy that includes both. And I think what you do online are things like sidebar conversations. If you like somebody on your, and number one would be join other people's, let me back up. Number one would be join other people's communities, right? So other people's communities, other people's content, the OPC,
Yeah.
and not to be confused with the OPP.
What's OPP? I don't think I know what that
OPP,
is.
you know me. The song by Naughty by Nature.
Okay,
I
I'm
should have
clearly
had it.
not.
I
I'm
could have.
clearly not
Yeah,
down with the kids.
I could have. I maybe in a minute I'll pull it up and I'll play it for you.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, you
so
have to
most
hum it. Listen, you brought it up.
I'll pull it up in a minute. And so when you start to tap into communities, what happens is people will join these tweet chats, or they'll join a Google community, and they'll join an event that they love, or a hangout like this. But then they really connect with these people during the conversation, but then they don't ever do anything with it, right? So you have to do something with that connection. When you have that digital connection with somebody that feels like it could be a heart connection or a mind connection, you have to take that to the next level, and you have to make the effort to do that. You can't depend on everybody else and think, well, that person never talks to me, or that person never tweets to me. You see so much negativity happening online, and most of the time it's because everybody's waiting for everybody else to be nice to them. Like, why can't we just all be nice to each other, and we all make the effort? So I think
No.
that I see you laughing like you want to say something.
No. That's exactly right. I mean, like, you're right. Basically, if it's a bit like, you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody
Yeah.
knows about it, a remarkable thing will happen, which is nothing. So yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to do something.
Yeah, you got to get on. And then the second, so you got to do something about it online, and you need to, if it's a business relationship that you don't know them yet, you're not going to be able to call them up. Then you need to do things like tap into the power of email marketing. Email marketing is not dead. And I did a podcast episode on this, and the best analogy I use, and I talk about it in that podcast, it's I know the movie, the Monty Python series,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Holy
Yeah.
Grail. So
Yeah.
it reminds me of I'm not dead yet. They're like, bitch, you will be by morning. No, I'm fine. I can go for a walk. So that's, to me, what email marketing is. It's not dead, but everybody's trying to say it's dead. I'll tell you, we have a list of over 50,000 people. Our business would not be where we are if it wasn't for email marketing. We get more leads than we need every single week. We turn down like 80 to 90% of the business that comes to us because of email marketing integrated with everything we're doing. So if you are not doing email marketing to grow your business and to nurture relationships, you're crazy, and you need to go do it now.
Yeah.
That
Words to live by, Pam.
absolutely. And then, so doing all the right things digitally, building communities, giving back, all the things that we all talk about. And then from an offline perspective, obviously, it's just picking up the phone. It's doing things like this. It's yesterday I finally got on the phone with Chris Yates, who's been a buddy of mine forever. He joins our Get Real chat all the time, and we're absolutely going to be doing some partnership opportunities now that's going to help both of our businesses grow. And what if I would have done that 2 years ago? He's been a friend of mine for the last 2 years. We could have both helped each other in substantial ways. So I'm really trying to make an effort this year in taking some of those things that I say I want to connect with you and really doing it, right? And I think that we all are so busy, and there's so many people we want to connect with, but at some point we just have to do it. And it's easier said than done. I know.
Yeah, and I like what you said about the notion of helping each other. And I can't remember who said this. I read this last week about being relentlessly helpful. So whoever that was, I know it was somebody else, and I'm giving you credit. I just can't remember who it was.
I don't know. I don't know who it was, but yeah, you got to be. It's like what Jay Bear says too. It's the utility. It's providing useful information, but then you have to know when it's the right time to take that relationship to the next level. Right? When are you going to take that to the next level? And I found your song. Let's see if
Oh, you found the song. Good. Are you going to play it here?
I don't know if
I thought you were going to have Josh to get in there and play the air. No.
I may have to just tweet it. It won't play. It looks like Spotify doesn't want to play while it's on.
Oh, that's okay. And we shouldn't broadcast that on air anyway.
No, it's not that bad. I've had my clients singing it even on.
Yeah, you can sing it actually, because that's your interpretation of it. So that would be perfectly good.
One of our clients, British Council, we had them singing that entire song at a training. We had like 50 people, all from different countries, brought together by the OPP song, dancing and singing.
Oh, well, I do better with the Monty Python songs anyway.
Oh, okay. So I
Yeah.
don't know those songs. So you'll have to teach me those songs.
Well, listen, Pam, we could literally chat all day, and I want you to thank you really for taking the time out today, because I knew this would be an awesome conversation, and maybe we'll come back and talk about something completely different, or maybe related another time.
That would be great. Thank you. I thank you so much for having me. And you're just a beautiful person inside out. And I know my partner really enjoyed getting to know you. And, we need to put our money where our mouth is too and do some more things together. So
No, I'll be delighted to do that. Well,
thank you
and
so much.
oh, listen, and thank you. And thank you also for watching the Reluctant Speakers Club Expert Series today. Until the next time, happy speaking.
Bye-bye. Thank you.